good morning, Corinna, and good evening if you happen to be in a time zone where I am, and good whatever other part of the day wherever you happen to be. It is March the 3rd, and I had so much fun drawing Frida Kahlo yesterday, although I feel like it didn't really, that something eluded me in the likeness. And as I was searching for the reference, hello, Funny Oliver, Kiki, hello. Everyone, please say hello. Rachel, hello. We're going to draw Frida again. As I was searching for reference photos, I saw this one and I was like, oh, the shadow shapes in this is so cool. So why not just draw Frida again? I'm going to use the same pencils as I did yesterday and see what happens this time. Hi Birte, hi Gabriela. Nice to see you in the chat. Lisbeth, Sheila, hello. Let's draw. How's everyone doing? What have you been doing so far today? Corinna, waking up. Hi Ronnie. Yeah, what is up? What is happening? Oh, I'll show you some things I've been doing today. I thought I was filming this wonderful tutorial about Pure Line, which is going to be available to my Patreon supporters. And I did film it, but the sound, I had two microphone inputs coming in, which I realized I also had something similar to that happening in the live stream with Ignas, and there was this weird echoey sound. I saw the replay. If anyone in the audience ever notices, oh Dylan, your sound's a bit weird, please tell me so I can adjust it. But I did some drawings that I really liked. Unfortunately, no one's going to watch the video because the sound is not that good, so I'm gonna have to redo it tomorrow. But I did a whole bunch of drawings of Melina, and I'm gonna do them again tomorrow. But here's a little sneak peek, a preview. If you'd like to support my work and if you'd like to learn with me, join my Patreon. I do monthly tutorials and putting all of the learning and the experience of the past month working with Pure Line. I'm channeling it into about an hour and a bit of tutorial. And I filmed it today. It was really good, but no one's ever going to see it. I'm going to film it again tomorrow and you can see that one. All right, let's draw. So, is there anything I want to do different today? Instead of doing 6 minutes, I'm going to put a 10-minute timer on and see what happens. Lewis is already here. Lewis already putting his drawing hand emoji. Sneaky, getting it in real early. High 5, high 10. Let's go. Let's draw. So very different composition today. Really close up of the portrait, and look at these shadow shapes. We're doing daily drawings together here on my YouTube channel, and the theme this month is shadow shapes. I love shadow shapes, and this has some delicious ones. How's everyone doing? So yeah, I thought I'd film this really good tutorial today, and then I went to edit it. Found one of the files I thought that I made. I was like, well, I couldn't find it. And then as I went into edit, and I was like, the sound in this is terrible. And I just kind of resigned to the fact that, okay, I'll do it again tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. But it's not the first time something like this has happened. And so far from my experience, having to do it again always leads to a better result. Because I'm in the material, and it was really fun drawing Melina, wonderful artist and great reference. So I don't mind drawing it again. It would have been nice to have finished and uploaded for everyone on Patreon today, but that's how it is. So look at this line. Look at this. It's like, what is this even? It's a pretty cool shape is what it is. What else is on? What else is happening for everyone? Have you learnt anything more about Frida Kahlo? Beth wrote to me, who wasn't here last night, but said that Frida is her favourite artist, and that was nice. If you're watching the replay of this, please drop a comment at any time. You can pause the video, you can let it keep playing. Just leave a comment and say hello. And let me know what you know about Frida. If you have favourite works of hers. If you don't know who she is, then you can look her up and learn some things, see some images, learn of a life and a creative person. All right, I love this kind of stuff. This is just like, what is this? What is this shape? Hi, Nicole. It's just this big shape, and it's going to contain my portrait. So it's like, this is, yeah. It's interesting to be like, okay, it's like light, shadow, light, to find where the different pieces are. This feels like a really different approach so far to a lot of the pieces I've been doing recently. So the way I'm just looking around and drawing around this is just looking for really distinctive value shapes. And that is the name of the game this month. Shadow shapes, value shapes, shapes within shapes. All right. And yeah, using each shape that has been drawn to find the next shape, where to put each shape. So all of the shapes thus far are just helping to make decisions about where to put the next thing. And by the end of it, if we do that consistently, put all the things next to the things that they're next to in the reference, then we end up with a portrait drawing. Yeah, so hello Cindy. Yeah, what's everyone up to? What's everyone doing today? What have you been doing today? Do you have any creative projects that you're working on? Mine was filming that tutorial today, and I get to do it again tomorrow. That's how things are sometimes. But after it didn't work out, I went for a walk. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it again, and it's going to be better. Okay, so I've got like this really dark value, and then there's like this mid-tone value where we see more tonal variation within the face. And there's some super hard transitions from where the shadow is just like really bold from light to dark. And then there are some areas where, like dark within dark, there's these soft transitions in here, but it's pretty dark. But then within the face, there's some really soft ones. And a lot of really great shapes. It's cool to have awesome reference to draw from. We were talking yesterday, there was a question about a cheeky line. Which one was the cheeky line? Let me know, Beata, which line was cheeky just now? Was it this cheeky line? I'm not sure. Whenever you spot me do a cheeky line, just let me know which one it was. If you're like, why did he put that line there? What was that? Then it's interesting, this process of learning to see, and that like sometimes I've had the feedback like these cheeky lines are like, why did you draw that? What is that? What are you saying? Or because I distinctly remember watching some tutorial videos and being like, how did that person even see that thing? That is not what I'm seeing. We're not seeing the same thing. And to just go on practicing and learning, and some years down the track, it's not an overnight thing, but consistent practice, it's really interesting to notice a kind of awareness shifting, being aware of different things as I'm looking at reference and drawing. Just spotting different values and shapes. And something's been really interesting with the line drawing tutorial, which I filmed today, but I'm going to film it again tomorrow. I was just thinking about the consistent practice leading to the confidence in making simple, clear mark making. Here there are things where I'm adjusting, I'm like redrawing things, like instead of this line, I'm like, oh, this angle is a bit more like this, or here I noticed maybe it's a bit different. And being able to just adjust as we go around and see what's if there are some things which look like they should be in a bit of a different place, or as we continue, that we maybe pick up on something, we're like, oh, actually, if that was a bit more like this, then it might look a bit more like them. It's interesting to catch those things if we give ourselves the time, if it's relevant for our practice at the moment. Because something I think about a lot, and I do a lot, is just working with different time frames, and what you can do in 10 minutes is different to what you can do in 5 minutes. It's different what you can to do in an hour or 30 seconds. So there'll be different considerations for different time frames, and that's also something that comes from just experience, kind of knowing within a given time frame. It's like, oh, is it worth doing more now? All right, that was 10 minutes. The first line was the cheeky line. This line that I corrected, cheeky because it was just like too vertical. Maybe we'll leave that open to interpretation. So now, maybe I'll just get a work in progress shot. So I've set up all these shadow shapes, and now I'm going to go around and fill them. And it was really interesting yesterday. If you maybe saw my Instagram post, I thought it was interesting to notice that there was a moment with yesterday's where I actually loved when I just had the violet outlines surrounding the orange shadows, and then I went and I filled in the shadows to get them darker. I put some more violet in there, and then as I looked through the work in progress shots, I was like, oh, actually there's something about the quality of the one where the shadows are lighter but they're more vibrant in that orange way, and it's just like a more reduced line work, which is playing a bigger role in the feeling, the finished feeling of the piece. So that might be something that I do today. I might not make the shadows as purple as I did yesterday. Because as I look back at it, I was like, oh, hang on. That was interesting before I made the shadows darker. To notice that just the vibrance of the shadows. It was really cool. But we'll see. There may be some areas where it's like, or it could be interesting, like, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but if the skin tones were orange and maybe the cloth were a different color, might be interesting. But it's also definitely interesting simplifying things and seeing within that simplification what the outcome is like. Hello, Ike. Welcome. Nice to have you here. "20 people are here now. That's nice." Nicole said, "I had a similar feeling about mine yesterday. In hindsight, maybe should have stopped earlier." Yeah, that is an interesting thing. So we have time, and then we're like, okay, I've done this now, and now I'm going to start doing this. And that is something in the pure line focus, which, okay, I'm going to make these shadows really like solid orange. The pure line focus to be like the moment before we start really hatching things in, that it can be finished. And yeah, that was really interesting to notice. And then I'm excited about moving on from pure line with the shadow shapes. But then it's kind of like with what I did yesterday, if I had kept going further and further and further, it could have become potentially more complex. But it was like, if I kept going with it, then I could bring it to another level where it could be really interesting. But like 2/3 of the way in to the process yesterday, I could have stopped there, and maybe, just maybe, I would have had a result that I was more excited about. But I didn't see it at the time. I only saw it, in retrospect, when I looked at the work in progress shots that I took. I was like, oh, that's interesting to notice. So this thing of knowing when to stop, which is an elusive thing to know. But sometimes that can be part of the reason why having some time limit imposed can be really beneficial. It just forces you to be brief, and then it can be surprising within that short time frame to be like, oh, this is cool, this is alive. Still in frame, yeah. All right. So now I'm kind of seeing this as 3 different values. There's the bright shapes. There's the really dark shapes, and then there's this in between. A lot of interesting shapes. Now I'm going to use the water brush to wet it a bit. And, oh, that's a bit dark. What's that? Some muddy something on there. Kiki shared, I think, an article, a link to something about the mural in Detroit in the Discord server. So another really cool thing about the Discord server is people can share inspiration there. If you find some work and you're just like blown away and it's amazing and you've just got to tell someone, you could share it to the inspiration conversation in the Discord server. Or if you discover something which you think is interesting or confusing, or you just want to kind of start a conversation, there is the general chat and art share channel. And I think as we progress with the Discord server, that it can become home to lots of interesting discussion and just be a great place to share things. So if you're not already in the Discord server, the link is in the description below. And if you're watching this more than a week from now, the link's probably inactive, but you can leave a comment and say, hey, this link doesn't work anymore, Dylan, and I'll send you a new one. So they expire after 7 days. But if you want to join and you write to me and say, hey, let me into this Discord server you speak of, I will. Don't hold back. So I share the references on the Discord server. Sometimes I do a crop for the live stream, and I'm able to share the full image in the Discord server. And people are sharing their work there, also sharing on Instagram and any other places you share. You're welcome to do so. And I'd love you to tag me so I can reshare and see your work. Is anyone here on TikTok? I have been posting stuff to TikTok again recently after not using it. And after all the drama of it like nearly closing, and now just being like totally, I guess, subservient to the current American administration, bowing to their conditions. But there are a lot of people sharing a lot of cool stuff on there, and so I'm sharing some stuff there too. But I got my email confirmation from PixelFed after a month of waiting to open an account there, that now I can upload stuff to PixelFed, which I have not done yet because there are so many social media networks and only so much time in the day. But if you are on those places, any social media network, there's also a place in the Discord server where you can let us know where you are. Or you can let us know here, because I would love to connect. I have like a different username on every account, pretty much. Dylan_Sara, Dylan Sara no underscore, at Dylan Sara draws. It's always a bit different because all of the straight up Dylan Saras were taken. So I don't have a unified username across all platforms, but I'm discoverable. Maybe. I wonder sometimes. All right. So that was another 10 minutes. And now it's like really bold shadow shapes. And I'm just going to add some line work. I'm going to let this dry a bit. And I'm going to put some of this violet line work on top of this. I'm not going to do any hatching with the violet. I'm going to let the orange be the shadow. And see how I feel about that. What? There's more than one Dylan Sara? Well, interesting thing. When I joined Instagram, there was a couple called Dylan and Sara, or Sarah. I say Sara for my name. And they were wedding photographers. and they were like this couple team, and they took wedding photos, and I'm like, oh, that's nice, but that would be my username, but that's nice. And then they weren't working together anymore, whatever happened. And I think actually I used to have dylansara.de as my website because dylansara.com was taken by Dylan and Sara, the wedding photographers. And then they must have stopped working together, and then I got dylansara.com, so that was cool for my website. But then I was in Instagram, and like I was already had my stuff going on somewhere. So, but it's interesting. Dylan Sara, no, is it Drawing with Dylan is a hashtag that back in 2020 someone suggests people use while drawing with me, and it kind of stuck. So you can use that hashtag. But on Instagram, there is an Instagram account called Drawing with Dylan, and it's like inactive, unfortunately. And I wrote to that Dylan, and I was like, hey Dylan, you want to come and draw with us? But it seems there are some places where there's like a doubling up of usernames. Some places where like it doesn't have to be a unique username. But I don't know if there's another Dylan Sara. There was a Dylan and Sara. Oh, I think there was... Oh, someone wrote to me once, I think, and was like, oh, my kids' names are Dylan and Kira. Kira is my wife. A friend from Australia said that if we had like a metal band, it should be Killen and Dira. I didn't put another timer on, but now I'm just going to just do this until I feel like stopping. This is looking awesome. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for your encouragement. You thought I said violent line work. Violet. Not violent. Non-violent communication and non-violent line work. I was talking about this with Kira today, that I read this book. I studied architecture, and there was some book I read, and it was talking about violence in architecture. And it was saying how just the act of entering a room is a violent act. I was like, whoa. To that space. And it was like, wow. And I read some pretty, I don't know, far out kind of philosophical stuff while I was studying architecture. Stuff about our relationship to space and relationship to each other, and it spun out into all sorts of things. It was really interesting, actually. I did a building design where I made it about homelessness and homeless art, and we had to redesign an art exhibition, an art gallery. And I love the kind of the in-between spaces in the cities and Adelaide, where I lived. And I found, it's just like reading all this stuff to get you thinking about things differently as a topic, a way of doing things, approaching things from different perspectives, something that I seem to like to do. And while I was looking up homelessness and art and art galleries and stuff, I found this forum back in the day where it was like homeless people going to community libraries and sharing their stories with each other, and it was really interesting. And I got to read some of this, like people sharing about, this must have been back about 2002, just sharing part of their life stories, and they would like go to this place. And I remember, and I really appreciated in Australia, and it's not the case in Germany, I don't think, but there are all these free institutions, cultural spaces that you can just go to, and you can use the internet at the library, and you can go see art exhibitions, and it's actually a space where everyone is welcome to go. And I thought of this as a place of like shelter and cultural cultural institution, a place to just be and connect, and with this idea of like seeing that people were in their hardship, were connecting using the internet in public libraries across the world. It's like, wow, this is so interesting. I wonder if I could make something in my design ideas for this art institution, this state gallery, like to think about the inviting people in who maybe normally would not have I don't know what's normally, it's not, but just kind of creating a space which is really welcoming people in to use it and interact and be part of the kind of the cultural dialogue of whatever's happening, to use the space but also be involved in the creation of the art. And then it went into this whole thing of like, what if it was not just in the gallery, but it's all through all of the forgotten spaces of the city, that there's like street art connected all through, and all these different explorations of ideas, and that was all this thinking before even drawing the building. So it was just kind of following this unfolding tale, going down the rabbit hole of certain ideas, and through that kind of exposure to ideas and just thinking about things, to be like, okay, so how could those ideas become part of what informs the space and the building, the built space, and how does it react? And there's something, it was such an interesting process. Like the actual conceptual design work of architecture was something that I enjoyed so much. It was so cool. The technical drawing, making sure that buildings are going to stand and that you've drawn every detail, that was not so much my strong point. But I am thankful for the ideas I was exposed to there, and the kind of thought processes I was able to engage in, the friends that I had. I there should be a highlight there, but there's not. It was an interesting time. Okay, so now it's like, I'm not going to fill in any extra hatching with purple. It's interesting now, the outlines kind of defining the shadow shapes more, accentuating the shadow shapes without feeling like I have to go even darker, just kind of relying on what I've already done to carry that. And I wonder if there's anything now, this is kind of something I was thinking about with the pure line drawings as well, at the state where it feels like you maybe finished. It's like, okay, is there anything to accentuate? Is there something? Maybe with the orange, drawing back in with orange might be interesting. It's interesting drawing historical figures. I wonder, does anyone here have any suggestions for other people you would love us to draw? If it's someone that I know and I'm really interested in, then I'd love to. And I also am happy to learn new things about people that I do not yet know much of. And also just, drawing friends. But with a focus on shadow shapes. If you have some images, you can write to me on Instagram or somewhere, and if you find something, you're like, look at these shapes, how cool is this? Or you could share stuff. in the Discord server, like, what about this? Look at these shadow shapes. If you start, as I started becoming acutely aware of my preferences in drawing and realizing, that's it's often like these really amazing shadow shapes. It's like to have this wonderful kind of light and dark contrast is something that I seem drawn to and really enjoy drawing. Once you start to understand what it is that's like appealing to you in drawing, and here it's just like this interaction of these strange kind of random shapes, like just the way all these interrelated shapes exist together. It's a fun time when you start realizing, like, I really enjoy drawing this kind of stuff, or if you notice some kind of common thread between the references you seem to be choosing, and you kind of start to cultivate a sensibility for what it is that feels strong to you in an image and why you like drawing certain things. That's really cool to discover and start to become aware of. And sometimes I just will be like on Instagram and seeing stories and stuff, and someone's just talking like, there's something, just notice something that looks like that would be so cool to draw, and just like grab a screenshot. Okay, I think this is about it for today. Ample time. That's probably like about half hour drawing, some chatting. Caravaggio, Franz Kafka. Interesting. Yeah, I'll write these down. So I guess that's it for today. Put your drawing hand emoji in the chat if you've made it to the end. I will be doing some short live streams again, because as I was talking about yesterday and other days, like some of the 5-minute drawing live streams, I really liked how they turned out, but I also really like how this turned out. Let's have a look. Yesterday's. Look here. I also really like this, but I'm kind of like, who is this person dressed up as Frida Kahlo? And here, I feel there's like a stronger connection to the source image, which is interesting. Orange love hearts. Thank you, Kiki, Lucas, Funny, Oliver, Karina Kirkham. Sometimes I would love to know how people pronounce things. But there is a really cool podcast I listened to, and I can't remember who was talking about it, but of someone who said that they welcome mispronunciation because it's a chance to interact with the way things are articulated. And even though I think it's a simple name, I have often been mispronounced. People, Sarah, or people call me Sarah Dillon or Sara Dillon, and Dillon gets spelled all sorts of different ways. Some things just we don't know how to pronounce. Lewis bought Derwent Inktense pencils today. Wow. But I don't really know how long I should wait until it sets on the paper and doesn't dissolve anymore. Does anyone know? I usually pat my drawing and you'll notice if you draw into the wet, it's like, it's instantly super intense, Lewis. But if you let it dry, then it won't be as intense. And so you probably have this phase of getting to know. But if the paper feels dry, then it's probably pretty safe. Because you could also intentionally just try out with it. If you draw into the wet, it's like super intense, and you won't be able to re-wet it. So you just kind of, I don't know. I waited a couple minutes before I started doing the lines on top of where I'd been put the water. Have fun with your Inktense pencil. Thank you for all those drawing hands. Glasses. Wait a minute. What glasses? Just drawing more glasses. You want to draw more glasses, Lisbeth? historical figures with glasses. What do we have? Kafka and Caravaggio. Are there images of Caravaggio? Well, they'd have to be paintings. I'm the only person who pronounces your name the way I do, and you like it. So you won't be telling me to correct the pronunciation. There we go. Let's welcome mispronunciation. Let's welcome nuance and variation, because it exists and it's everywhere. So that's nice. I will keep calling you Corinna. Kafka and Caravaggio. I saw some cool videos. Kate Maeve Art, I think is her name. She did some really cool master study videos, and I was wondering, like, maybe master studies would also be interesting to do sometime. But for now, thank you for being here. Oh, you're searching for an emoji. No problem. Accepted. Glasses accepted. Glasses to you. But I know that glasses emoji. Sometimes if you write cool, then it comes up with the glasses emoji as well. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow it's Tuesday, so it's Zoom drawing tomorrow. I'd love everyone to come and draw with me via Zoom, where we do sketches between 30 seconds and 6 minutes. Nothing like this. But we do it every Tuesday. Everyone's invited. It's at 7:30 p.m. German time. And the link is also in the description. Wherever you are in the world with access to Zoom, you're welcome to come and draw with us. And if you are not already there, here's the link to the Discord server in the chat. I'd love you to join, share your work there, join conversations, start conversations, ask questions. Always feel free to ask questions, and I can't wait to see your work. So I'd love you to share it there, or share it on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or Rednote or Kara, wherever, Blue Sky, all over the place. Thank you, everyone. See you next time, and thank you so much, Frida, for your amazing creative life and these really cool